Good morning, this is Dwayne with a little more good stuff you really ought to know. I'd like to talk about the order of the sharps and flats today. And you may say, well, I already know the order of the sharps and flats. Okay, hopefully I'll expand your thinking just a little bit and go to a little deeper level than just what the surface appears to be. First of all, though, let's just talk about the order of the sharps and flats and why we need to know it. First of all, it's always helpful to know what the order of the flats are, or the order of the sharps, because it tells you what key you're in, right? In other words, it's not just a bunch of flats, they're always in the same order. If there's 4 flats, they're always B'd. You can count on that, B-E-A-D. If there's 3 flats, they're always B-E-A. If there's 5 flats, they're always B-E-A-D, and so on, okay? So the order of the flats is B-E-A-D-G-C-F. And the order of the sharps, and the reason I didn't put the order of the sharps down is because I did, because it's there. It's just backwards, isn't it? F, C, G, D, A, E, B, except you'd make all those sharps, not F flat, but F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. Notice there's 7 of each one, right? 7 possible sharps, 7 possible flats, okay? And they're just in inverse order to one another. A lot of people don't know that. Now, when we see flats in a key signature, we can always tell what key it is by counting down 4 notes from the last flat. What's 4 scale notes down from B flat? F. So if we have 1 flat, we're in the key of F. If we have 2 flats, the last flat is E flat, isn't it? B flat and E flat. So 4 notes down from there takes us back to the first flat, B flat. 4 notes down from A flat takes us back to the second flat, E flat. 4 flats down from D flat takes us to the third flat, A flat. 4 flats down from G flat takes us down to the 4th flat, D flat, and so on. Okay, so you always back up 1 flat. The second to the last flat is the name of the key, or in the case of 1 flat, of course, the key is F. Right? With sharps, you simply take the last sharp to the right and go up a half step. In other words, if there's 1 sharp, it's F sharp, isn't it? And what's a half step above F sharp? G. Right? If there's 2 sharps, they're what? F sharp and C sharp. So the last sharp is C sharp, so you go up a half step from C sharp, and that takes you to D, doesn't it? If there's 3 sharps, they're F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. What's a half step above G sharp? A. So the key is A. Now, what does it mean to be in the key of A, or what does it mean to be in any key? It means that the composer is basing his composition on the scale of A, which has those 3 sharps in it, right? Or he's basing his composition, if it has 3 flats, on the scale of E flat, which has 3 flats, right? In other words, that's the lumber out of which he builds his musical house, okay? Now, does that mean he can't use other notes? No, it doesn't mean that, but it means that if he uses other notes, he has to say so by way of accidentals. If he wants to use a natural or a sharp somewhere, he has to put it in the, not in the key signature, but in as an accidental sharp or flat or natural as the music goes along, in the context of the music, in other words, right? Okay, well, that's the basic, and most everybody knows that if they've had basic theory. Now, let's take it a step further, though. Let's play through the flats. Let's pretend that's not just B, E, A, D, G, C, F, but the B flat chord. Now let's go to the E flat chord, now the A flat chord, now the D flat chord, now the F chord, now the C flat chord, now the F flat chord. Okay? See, we went up a 4th each time, didn't we? B flat up to E flat, E flat up to A flat, A flat up to D flat, D flat up to G flat, G flat up to C flat, C flat up to F flat. Okay? So we're always going up a 4th, and that's the way chords want to move. Okay? They really want to go up a 4th if possible. They don't always, but that's the gravity of chords. Just like the gravity of weight on planet Earth is to pull you back to Earth. I mean, it doesn't take long to find that out, does it? If you step off a table or a building or something, you're not gonna break the law of gravity. The law of gravity is going to break you. And it's the same way here. That there's a gravity in music, and it's to move up a 4th. Okay, chords want to move up a 4th. Now, usually the presence of a 7th will really pull it up a 4th. In other words, if I put a 7th in the B flat chord, that really wants to go to E flat, doesn't it? Da da da. Hear that? If I put a 7th on E flat, where does it want to go? A flat. If I put a 7th on A flat, where does it want to go? D flat. If I put a 7th on D flat, where does it want to go? G flat. If I put a 7th on G flat, where does it want to go? C flat. If I put a 7th on C flat, where does it want to go? F flat, right? Okay, so you can see how that pulls that way. Okay, so what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that if there's a 7th chord going, you have about a 90% chance of knowing what the next chord is. If it doesn't tell you, right? You have about a 90% chance. If there's an E flat 7th chord, I can tell you at least 90% of the time, probably higher than that the next chord is going to be A flat something or other. Might be A flat major, probably be A flat major, but there's a 15% chance it would be A flat minor. Okay, but it's going to be A flat something, almost 95% of the time. Okay, so that gives you a little insight. Now, what if we make that 7th chord minor, B flat minor to E flat? Does it still move that way? Yes. In fact, we have T for 2 and 2 for T, me for you and you for me. I'm just playing the first 4 chords. B flat minor 7th to E flat 7th. B flat minor 7th to E flat 7th. Now I'm going to play the A flat chord, but I'm putting the melody of T for 2 on top. D flat, A flat, D flat. Now I can go back to B flat to E flat, B flat to E flat to A flat. Okay, you see, there's tons of songs that move in those parameters. So I would encourage you to just get acquainted with playing through those chord progressions. The 7th, B flat 7th to E flat 7th to A flat, then B flat minor 7th to E flat 7th, E flat minor 7th to A flat minor 7th to D flat, and so on. Okay, and I would encourage you to improvise around those. Okay, there's a variety of ways you could do it. You could just play the B flat 7th chord and get in right into E flat, into A flat. Now I'm on D flat. What am I going to go? G flat. Now I'm going to go to C flat. Where am I going to go to now? F flat. See that? Okay. Now can I do that with sharps? Let's see. If I play F sharp, the F sharp chord, where does that want to go? Does that want to go to C sharp? No. I still want to go from left to right. In other words, B 7th, let's think in sharps now, not B flat 7th, but B 7th wants to go to E 7th. E 7th wants to go to A 7th. A 7th wants to go to D 7th. D 7th wants to go to G 7th. G 7th wants to go to C 7th. C 7th wants to go to F. F 7th. Where does F 7th want to go? I just finished with the sharps. What do I do now? I can go to the flats. B flat, 7th wants to go to E flat. E flat wants to go to A flat. A flat wants to go to D flat. D flat wants to go to G flat. G flat wants to go to C flat. C flat wants to go to F flat. And where in the world does F flat want to go? He wants to go to A of some sort, doesn't he? He wants to go up a 4th, right? Where does A want to go? D. Where does D want to go? G. Where does G want to go? C. You see that? It just keeps going around that circle, doesn't it? Now, some of those are inharmonic. No, in other words, when I got to C flat, you could start thinking B goes to E, right? See what I'm saying? And E goes to A, and so on. Okay, but you're still going around that circle. Okay, so that's one of the layers of truth that that lies under the surface. Okay, but there's another layer too, and that is in chord construction. You'll notice that it's a stack of 4s. If you start on B flat, go to E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat. You have a stack of 4s, don't you? Okay. Now, I'm going to try to press all those. My hands are small, so I can't really press all those notes down at once. I can get all of them except the top one, but see, I can get all of them except the very top one. Okay, but that's a stack of 4s. Okay, now let's go the other way. Let's start on F, C. I'm going counterclockwise now, or from right to left. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Okay? In other words, I'm stacking up by fifths, aren't I? Okay? Now maybe you've noticed chords in music. You've heard a lot of chords like that, and wondered where they came from. Listen. You've probably heard things like that, and that's where they come from. They come from stacked fourths or stacked fifths. And how do you know what to stack? It's right there in front of you. Start on a B flat, or start anywhere you want. You can start anywhere you want and go up a fourth. Say E flat to A flat to D flat to G flat to C flat to F. Okay? Now take that chord up a half step. Now down a half step. And suddenly you have some exciting new chords to work with, don't you? I would just start with, a couple like that, and then start maybe improvising on those. Or if you're not into that kind of thing, you can still make some beautiful things by, let's say you play the root of E flat and then play an E flat chord based on fourths. And you can see what I did there. Instead of moving in half steps, I moved in whole steps. Those are moving up whole steps, but it's still stacked in fourths. Well, those are some of the layers that lay under what's obvious, okay? So I encourage you to dig and discover for yourself. There's lots of truth that lies in music if you just get down and dig, like lots of things. Okay, so enough good stuff for this month. We'll see you next month with more good stuff you really ought to know.